Is a new $300 HomePod worth buying over the $200 Echo Studio or the $100 Nest Audio? Well, today we're gonna listen to 3 separate tracks so that you guys can hear all of the differences. Not only that, but I'm also gonna use an equalizer app to show you guys the difference in frequency response so you guys can see the differences as well. Now, I also made a comparison between the original HomePod and a stereo pair of HomePod Mini, so if you guys wanna see that, check out the link in the description or after this video. Now, this first test is gonna be a loudness comparison because sometimes you just need to turn it all the way up. Well, there is no doubt that the Echo Studio is definitely the loudest. It hit 92 decibels 3 feet away compared to 91 on the Nest and 86 on the HomePod. So the HomePod's the quietest, but with the Nest, if you max it out, most of that volume's from the high frequencies, the mids and the bass don't kick up as much. So right now, I'm gonna lower down the volumes, make them all equal, and we can compare the sound quality. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. I will just say that the Nest cannot compete. Now, Google used to make the Google Max. That thing was a beast and it had great bass, but this one just really lacks, both in bass and the highs. You hear some bass, but it doesn't dig low like these two do. Now, the Echo Studio, the bass is bumping. You guys can actually see the subwoofer moving. It is really big. And the bass is louder here, and you can EQ that, of course, but the HomePod actually digs deeper, it gets lower, and overall, even though these are similar in sound quality, the HomePod is the best. Now, let's go ahead and change to a more classical track. The Nest is painful to listen to after you heard of these ones, and the worst thing is, it's directional. So you guys are hearing the best of it through our $850 microphone setup, and when you move to the side, it gets even worse. Now, comparing these two, I do like the mids better in the Echo Studio, but overall, the HomePod, once again, sounds the best. You have a little bit better clarity. The bass digs deeper, even though it's not as loud. I prefer the HomePod, even though I don't even own it. I own this Echo Studio. And now, let's switch to a rock track that has so many different instruments, it is much tougher.
I see it coming as we press on. We will not relent. Now and never till the day that we dream of. I see it coming. We'll never back down. We will not relent. Now and never till the day that we dream of. I see it coming as we press on. We will not relent. Now and never till the day that we dream of. I see it coming through
And for this one, the HomePod wins once again. Now, the Nest sounds worse than Apple's HomePod Mini. It is crazy, worse in every way other than it can get a little bit louder, but it sounds terrible at it. So please don't buy this. get a HomePod mini instead, or one of the smaller $100 Echoes, this thing is sad. Now, the Echo Studio still sounds good. It has a little bit more bass in my opinion, but overall you get more clarity and more separation between instruments with the HomePod, so it is the winner. Now as for our analysis, I set the volumes to be the same. Here we have the HomePod 2, the Echo Studio, and the Nest. Here's all of them at once so you guys can freeze frame this if you guys want to look at it in detail. And this is the HomePod 2 compared to the Echo. So the Echo actually has more low-end bass starting from around 30 hertz. It starts to kick up all the way up to about 60 or so right here, where the HomePod starts to take over. Now keep in mind, this is set to the same volume. So when you're playing them 70 to 80%, the HomePod definitely has more bass right up until 200 hertz. Apple really likes to push that. From 400 up to 1000, they are fairly similar here. And then the Echo drops off all the way over here. You see the HomePod pushes that up. So those tweeters really start to stand out, and the HomePod has this dip and then kicks back up higher. So the Echo is a lot more flat, a lot more true to life, and then has more sub bass. Now comparing the HomePod to the Nest has no bass. And even when it kicks up, it is so low here. It stays a lot more flat and then doesn't have the highs and the sparkle from the tweeters, where the HomePod has 5 of them instead of 1. Now as far as the bass output, at 40 hertz here, the Echo has way more if you turn the speaker up, 87 decibels compared to 72. Switching over to 60 hertz, the HomePod kicks up here, but the Echo can still output way more bass relative to the HomePod if we're maxing out the volume. Comparing the Echo to the Nest, the Echo at 40 hertz gets close to the Nest at 100 hertz in terms of output. It is insane. And the Echo Studio at 60 hertz actually puts out more bass than the Nest at 100 hertz. We have 91 decibels compared to 94. So the Nest is really an embarrassment as far as bass output. It's not even close to the other ones. So with that said, will I switch from the Echo Studio to the HomePod? No, for a couple of reasons. One, I like my music loud, and this thing gets actually louder than 2 HomePods put together, which cost you $600. This is still slightly louder. And the second thing is, Apple really limits how you can connect to this. You can't do Bluetooth like you can with Echo Studio. There is no physical input as well, and you can't do Spotify Connect. So you can AirPlay to it, but with that, your EQ settings go out the window. And if you're connecting from your laptop or your phone, which is nice if you're a Mac user, iOS user, well, if you play anything else on your phone, it overrides it. Where here you can cast to it, do anything else you want on your phone or whatever, and it plays just fine. Now, both of these can also pair to other ones. You can actually pair 4 of these together. You could do surround sound if you have one of the Amazon devices, which I don't have because I don't like them. And as far as smart capabilities, of course, these are smart speakers. The Alexa ecosystem, shouldn't have said that word, it is by far the most capable. It has the most compatibility with different devices. The Nest is in second place, a little bit behind, but the HomePod is by far the most limiting, and as far as the smart assistant smartness, it is the most dumb as well. But if you like great sound quality and you have the money and you're okay with the limitations, it is a fantastic sounding speaker for the price. And if you don't need maximum volume, I think it is worth spending the extra money over this Echo. Now, with that said, check out the comparison between 2 HomePod minis, which come in at $200, just like the Studio, and the original one right over there. Click above to subscribe to see more videos, and I'll see you in the next one.